gosh, how do you get a 2-year-old to sit still for an hour and something crying? What was it, cruelty?
I had to jimmy him a little bit, you know, with
what?
the iPad and stuff. I had to jimmy him with the iPad.
What's jimmy him?
This is the plaintiff, Malika Jules. She says the defendant came into her hair salon to have her son's hair braided, and she also brought her 3 other kids in. Turns out one of them broke her iPad, and when she told the defendant, the woman said something like, her kid likes to smash other people's stuff up. Well, that might fly in her family, but it certainly doesn't fly in her workplace with her property. So she's suing for $385, the cost to replace her iPad. This is the defendant, Shamika Chambers. She says her kids and the plaintiff's daughter were all playing together and everything was fine. 2 weeks later, she goes back to the salon and the plaintiff tells her she owes her money because her son supposedly broke her iPad. Now the plaintiff has badmouthed her all over the neighborhood. She has no proof nor evidence her son was the one who broke her property. And she certainly isn't buying her a new one. She's accused of not supervising her kids.
All parties, please raise your right hand.
What you are about to witness is real. The participants are not actors. They are actual litigants with a case pending in civil court. Both parties have agreed to drop their claims and have their cases settled here before Judge Marilyn Millian in our forum, the People's Court.
Be seated. Come to order, please. Litigants have been sworn, Your Honor.
Thank you, Douglas. Malika Jules?
Yes.
You are suing Shamika Chambers and Kevin Levy Jr., your son, your power of attorney for your son. How old is your son?
He's 8.
8, all right. For $385, the cost to replace a broken iPad that, according to you, her son broke. Tell me what happened.
So basically around late October, Shamika walks into the salon and asked me if I could braid her.
Do you own the salon or you're a stylist?
I'm a stylist at the salon.
Okay.
She asked me if I could braid her son's hair, which is her last son, the baby.
A different son?
Yeah,
Yes.
the baby.
Right, okay. How old's the baby?
Like, I think he was 2 at the
Okay.
time. So I
Okay.
told her, you know, it's fine if he sits.
How long does it take to braid her?
Well, it takes a little while, sometimes an
How
hour
long?
or so.
Oh my gosh, how do you get a 2-year-old to sit still for an hour and something crying? What was it, cruelty?
I had to jimmy him a little bit, you know,
had to
with
what?
the iPad and stuff. I had to jimmy him with the iPad.
What's jimmy him?
Like, you know, get him to watch the iPad.
That's called jimmying?
Yeah, like, you know, like show him other stuff so that he doesn't cry. Like, get him away from the comb.
Has anybody else ever heard that? I want to know if this is a thing or not. All right, go ahead.
Yeah, so I told her, okay, you know, he didn't sit still, but then it was fine because he wasn't that bad. So, you know, all the kids were playing. My daughter was there.
What are all the kids?
Her 3 kids, because she got an older daughter. She got 2
How old
others.
are all the children?
My daughter is 15. I have a boy that's 6 and 8, and then the 2-year-old. But my daughter wasn't there.
Okay. So according
Yes.
to you, your daughter wasn't there,
She
and
wasn't
you had
there.
just the 6,
I had the 3 boys.
and one of them was in the chair, which was a
One-
2-year-old.
Right,
So
after
the
she
6 and
finished.
the 8-year-old were playing.
Playing with her daughter and another
Your
son.
daughter, who's how old?
My daughter is 4.
4. And what other child? There was another child?
The lady that works there, her son too, because my son.
How old is that child?
He probably was like around the same age with my son because they was in the same school.
Bunch of little kids. Go ahead. What happens?
Yeah, so, you know, there was the topics or the conversation that was happening, you know, it was not suitable for kids upstairs because we were talking. And we decided, you know, since there's downstairs, you can let the kids go downstairs and play.
Where did they go downstairs?
Downstairs, the salon, because the salon has an upstairs with the chairs and you get your hair done, and downstairs is where you get it washed and the dryers.
Okay.
So it's very spacious downstairs. So you send them downstairs to play. You know, you could hear them, they're in earshot. So probably like 30 minutes to 45 minutes later, my daughter comes upstairs.
Your 4-year-old.
Yeah, no, she was 3 at the time.
She was 3 at the time.
Yes, she comes upstairs. She's like, "Mommy, they broke it."
They
I'm
broke
like,
what?
That's exactly what I said to her. I said, "They broke what?" She's like, "They broke the iPad." So, you know, I went downstairs. I took the iPad. I went downstairs just to see, you know, the location or wherever. Ask her, where did they break it? The iPad was broken where we do the dyeing of the hair, the table where we do the dyeing of the hair. I'm guessing probably the iPad was on there and the kids all wanted to play with it at the time and it fell off of the table.
But what did your 3-year-old tell you?
She just told me that they broke it and she pointed to the one who broke the iPad.
How do I know your 3-year-old didn't break it?
Because she been had her iPad from since she was.
No, I know, but how do
before
I know
that.
she didn't break it and then she's embarrassed or scared or something?
No, she
I
wouldn't
mean,
be.
she's 3, you know.
Well, she been had her iPad from since she was young, a baby. I don't
know what that has to do with my question, though.
Well, I don't know.
Right.
I can't tell you.
Neither can I, because I don't have her here to cross-examine, and I wouldn't because she's 3. But in any event, so your 3-year-old tells you he did it, and then what happens?
And then, she's sitting in the chair, getting her hair done. So I go to her in the chair. I say to her.
And you show her the iPad?
Yes, I show her the iPad, and I said, Shamika, my daughter says that your son broke the iPad. So she goes, which son? So I told her, the one before the baby. I point him out to her.
One before the baby.
Yeah, that's the other son before her last son. I don't know their names. I don't know their ages.
Okay.
I just know that he was the son before her last son.
Okay.
Because, they come in sizes.
The middle-sized one. He's like a grande, Got it, all right, got it.
She yelled
Did she
at
call him over?
Yeah, she
Did
yelled
she
at
ask
him.
him if he did it?
Yes, she yelled
And
at
what
him.
did he
She's
say?
like, you broke that iPad. I told you about touching people's stuff. Come over
What
here.
did he say?
I guess he didn't say anything because he's a kid.
Okay.
And then she was like, you know what? Well, Tamara, how much is going to cost to get it fixed? So, I said, no problem. I'm going to go to the store right across the street, a tech shop right across the street, and get you the estimate of how much to get the screen fixed. The guy tells me it's $85.
Right at that moment you did that?
Yeah, right at that moment.
And how much was it going to cost to get fixed?
$85.
Okay, to get a new screen.
Just to get, not the LCD screen, not what you see, just the outside layer.
Right, that's the part that was broken.
That's the part, it was cracked.
Right, that's the part that was cracked.
Yeah.
So you were going to replace it, just like when I crack my phone 5,000
Yes.
times. Well, I don't, but my family does. That you replace that glass. Okay.
Yes, right. So I came back and I told her that. She's like, fine, okay, no problem. She's going to get it done.
Did she take the iPad with her?
She took the iPad.
Did she walk across the street?
No, I didn't see her walk across the street.
You thought she was going to walk across the street?
Yes, she took the iPad and she left the store.
Right.
That confirmed
And
she's
then
gonna
what
fix
happened?
it. She comes back to the store like a couple minutes later and she tells me, I'm going to drop you off the receipt. So basically, after that, I never heard from.
She never came back to give you the receipt?
She never came back to give me the receipt.
So did you call her?
I did. I found a number for her.
What do you mean you found a number for her?
Yes,
You let her walk off with your iPad and you didn't take her name and number?
No, I found a number for her.
Wait,
because
wait.
She's
You
a
let her
regular.
walk off with your iPad?
She's a
and-
regular stylist in the shop that I work. I see her all the time. She
Okay.
lives around the way. Her kids go to school around the block. I see her all the time. I see her kids all the time. A couple weeks later, I got the wrong phone number for her at first. So I was basically texting the wrong phone number asking for.
Let me just say that when you give somebody your iPad, you should be taking a picture of their license, and you should. You should have
Yeah,
like.
well, it was all kids
All right.
playing, and I didn't want
Okay.
to. I didn't want to.
It looked like it wasn't going to be a problem. So
Yes.
then, when you reach her, what does she say?
She tells me she doesn't think it's her son who broke the iPad.
That's the first time you hear that?
That's the first time after 3-4
And then,
months.
but she's
of having
had your
the
iPad all that time?
Yes, all that time. And
So she
told me-
never walked across the street like you thought she would?
I even
And what
went
do you
to the
say to her
store.
about that?
Because she had a lot of attitude. After she had a lot of attitude when I would call her to find out about the iPad.
Wait,
So
is she ever telling you things like, yes, I'm going to get to it? Or does she from the beginning say to you, I'm not fixing that iPad, I don't even know if it was my
from the
son?
beginning, she goes, I will fix your iPad.
Well, did you ask her why the heck didn't you take it over right there?
I asked her.
And what'd she say?
Nothing. No contact.
What's
She's
going
like,
on? Stop. What's going on?
Okay, I went to go get my hair done at the hairstyle.
No, we so do not need to hear about your hair. What happened with this iPad? She comes up to you and says, my daughter says your son broke her iPad.
When I went to the shop, she never told me that date. I went back 2 weeks later because my husband died, so I had to get a touch-up. That's when she came to me and said that she never got a chance to take it to the place across the street. So I said, okay, give it to me.
No, wait. On the day in question, did she walk up to you with the iPad and show it to you?
I didn't know until 2 weeks later.
Did she, on the day in question?
No.
I haven't asked my question.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Harvey Levin here. So, what about the fact that she didn't confront her at the salon, didn't even complain or call her for 2 weeks?
I think it's a little suspect because if you had an issue that day, you should address it same day and not come back 2 weeks and try to make it a bigger thing.
Well, since there were other kids in the salon and she didn't confront her, does she really have the goods to win this case?
I don't think she does at all.
I mean, if your iPad broke and you thought somebody else did it, how long would it take you to confront that person if they were in a salon with you?
Right on the spot.
Right on the spot, right? Going inside the courtroom.
On the day in question, did she say to you, your son broke my iPad?
No.
So according to you, the first you hear of anything is 2 weeks later when you walk in. 2 weeks later. Are the children with you when you walk in?
No, because I just asked my hairstylist.
What say you to what she just said, that you never even mentioned it until 2 weeks later?
That is not true.
Okay.
And even the oldest daughter, she said that was not in the shop. She was in the shop.
Okay, so according to you, 2 weeks later, she says to you, hey, 2 weeks ago, your son broke my daughter's iPad.
Right.
Right, and what do you do?
My thing is, I was like, all right, where's the iPad? How we know he did it?
Right.
And she said her daughter pointed him out, so fine. I'm not into the back and forth, so I said, okay, give me the iPad and I'll fix it.
I'm sorry. So you say that you first learn of it 2 weeks later. You say you don't even have a chance to confront your child. You say a 3-year-old identified him a week ago, and you say, oh, okay, here, give it to me. I'm going to have it fixed. Really? 'Cause that sounds nutty on your part.
Not really, because when she told me, and it was a whole bunch of kids playing, so I'm like, you know what, maybe it could have happened. I didn't ask any questions. I said, all right, I'll just fix it.
All right, so then why don't you go fix it?
When she told me about the guy across the street was going to do it, she said it was like $100 and something, and I was like, well, that's expensive. I was like, let me see if I can get someone, because when my son iPad...
Did you ever make any effort to get the glass fixed by somebody else, get another estimate?
Absolutely.
What were the estimates? Let me see them. I don't mean once you got sued, honey. I mean back then.
Well, I don't have that paper because I took it to the Apple store to find out how much.
Oh, it's going to be cheaper. Okay.
Well, it kind of was cheaper.
So why didn't you just get it fixed?
I did get it fixed.
When did you get it fixed?
I got it fixed after the third party told me that she said, you know what, I don't want to go to court. If she fixed it now, I'll take it. And that's what I did. Because it was for the beginning
of... Do you have the Apple receipt?
Not the Apple receipt. I have the receipt where I got it fixed at.
Well, you didn't get it fixed at Apple. Okay, where did you get it fixed at?
I got it fixed at across the street because my brother knew the guy that did it.
Okay. How much did you pay to get it fixed?
The $85.
Okay, and she had told you it was going to be 100 and some? All right, do I have the iPad that's fixed?
Yeah, it's right here.
All right, let's see it. While she's looking for the receipt. How old was this iPad?
I got it back in...
Way back.
Way back, yeah. When it first came out.
It's working like a charm.
Yes, it should be, because it was when I left it.
Okay. Hand her iPad. Did you ever talk to your kid and ask him, hey, did you drop it?
I did.
And what'd your kid say?
He said it was the other little boy that went with him in school. And then that's how I knew it was going to be like too much back and forth. And then the parent going to say no. And I'm like, I couldn't. So I
know. I understand that. Like, I understand that sometimes it's just easier to get out of it.
Right.
But, like, I'm kind of curious as to why you accepted responsibility to begin with. If it happened, like, a week later, just somebody comes in and says, hey, a week ago, my 3-year-old says your 8-year-old, blah, blah, blah. Why would you even take it?
That's my fault on my part.
You think?
Because, yeah, that's my fault. Because I felt
How's it looking?
It's good.
Pretty good, right?
Pretty good. Yes.
Case closed. Good luck, folks.
Thank you.
Okay, so everybody's happy now? Mm-hmm. Are you happy with that ruling and how it came out?
Yeah.
Cost you some money?
But not much. It really doesn't matter.
Now, are you convinced of who broke that iPad at this point?
No, it was all these kids playing. If it was me, I would have went half and half. But it really doesn't. $85. I pay more for hair, so it's okay.
Yeah. Speaking of the hair, who does your hair now?
Well, I don't go back there because just a whole bunch of stuff.
So she lost a customer. She got her iPad.
But the person that does my hair is not even working there anymore. So, yeah.
All right down there. All right, you got your iPad and you lost the customer.
No, she wasn't my customer. Well, she was my coworker's customer.
All right, well, the place lost one.
Well, we don't need deceitful customers anyway.
Really?
Deceitful, yes.
Well, you got your iPad. She did the right thing.
Eventually.
Anything else?
No.
Harvey.
Okie doke. As she said, if somebody breaks your property or damages your property, it is really important you confront them immediately. The longer you wait, the more you compromise your rights. And that will do it for this case. Litigants for the next case on the way into the courtroom right now.
Hi, I'm Angie Hicks, co-founder of Angie. And one thing I've learned is that you buy a house, but you make it a home. Because with every fix, update, and renovation, it becomes a little more your own. So you need all your jobs done well. For nearly 30 years, Angie has helped millions of homeowners hire skilled pros for the projects that matter. from plumbing to electrical, roof repair to deck upgrades. So leave it to the pros who will get your jobs done well. Hire high-quality certified pros at Angie.com.
These are the plaintiffs, Gina and Steve. Gina says they have a mold remediation company, and the defendant needed to use their services in his basement. He now refuses to pay them for the cost of a storage pod they rented for him for 3 months. They've tried everything in the books to get the defendant to pay what he owes, but he simply refuses and thinks he's above the law. They're here to show him no one's above the law, and they're suing him for every penny of the $780.62 they're owed. This is the defendant, Joe Veneziano. He says the plaintiff Steve told him the storage pod would cost him $100 a month, then presented him with a bill almost 3 times that. What gives? These people quote him one price and then try to triple it on him and expect him to just pay? He doesn't think so. And he doesn't think the judge will agree to that either. He's accused of standing his ground.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case in the docket. The plaintiffs have a mold remediation company. They say that the defendant stiffed them on work they did in the basement, but the defendant says the plaintiff gouged them. It's the case of you break the mold.
Thank you, Douglas.
You're welcome, ma'am.
Gina and Steve.
Yes.
Your company is suing Joe Veneziano.
Right.
For $780.62 in storage pod fees,
Yes.
correct? So, Gina, you want to speak first? Tell me what it is you're here about.
We went to Mr. Veneziano. He called us in to do an inspection for mold remediation at his home. Steve may be able to give
Steve,
you the...
why don't you tell me? You go in there and you give him a quote for remediation?
Yes, I went in. He was flooded during the hurricane, Sandy. Presented him with a proposal to take care of the mold that was in his basement area.
Do you have that proposal?
I do.
And he agreed to it?
I got the proposal. We have the authorization to proceed.
Okay, and the proposal was for $6,380.
That's correct.
And for that, you're going to remediate what?
His entire basement.
Okay,
Removing-
because it had been pretty bad.
That's correct. But
Do you have pictures?
prior to
Do you have pictures?
we don't have pictures, no.
Okay.
I went there in April. He finally got approval in 2015, in July, end of July, and indicated to me he wanted a reduced price. Don't ask me to reduce the price. He said, well, I carried some 2x4s out of the basement. I said, that's fine. The bottom line is, we're 16 months later, cost of doing business is more.
All right,
And I didn't
so you
change
agree
the price.
on the same price?
Gave him the same price.
Okay.
But in the proposal, we needed to remove the contents that he had stored in his basement. So I said the best thing to do is clean it and then put it in a storage pod. So that was in the proposal. We're going to get a storage pod. I'm going to get a dumpster.
Okay, as I understand it, what ends up happening is that the construction or remediation or whatever ended up taking. Was there construction going on there too?
No, remediation.
Just remediation. How long did the remediation take?
Maybe a week.
Okay, but the pod stayed there longer.
Because we rent it for a month. That's how you rent it. You can't rent it for days. They only rent it by months. So the pod is there. I indicated to the defendant that he still had to do what we call put back. Does he want to leave the stuff in the container, or did he want to put it back
How
into
can you leave the stuff in the container? Isn't the container in his front driveway?
Yeah, well, it could.
Yeah, how long can you live with the container there before the city says, hey, this...
Oh, yeah, you don't need a permit in our town for a container.
Wait, you could just keep a container in your front of your home? I could live next to your container. I have to look at it every day.
Unfortunately, yes.
That's awful. Contrast that with my city where you're not allowed to mow your lawn on Sunday or mow your lawn with your shirt off. Well, I mean, as a man. But that's really wild that there's no regulation about this.
So he had the option.
Is moving the stuff back in the home after it's remediated part of your proposal?
No, if you look at my proposal, we're not responsible for any removed items.
Okay. Price does not include replacement. So you say to him, do you want me to move the stuff back?
No, I said, Joe, are you going to move the stuff back in, or you can keep the container on your driveway while your contractor puts your basement back together?
Because the contractor was going to do work in the basement.
Right.
All right, and what does he say?
He wants to keep the container there, and he'll pay the monthly fee.
All right, let me ask you. You have a pod that is in their name that they're getting charged for. Why shouldn't you have to pay for it?
I never say I didn't want to pay for it. The thing they're not saying is we never discussed the pod. When Steve said that he came after the 16 months or however long it was that I got the money, I asked him to reduce the price. He don't tell you. I emptied out more than half the basement.
Okay, none of that matters to me. I don't care about your remediation contract. I don't care about what kind of a deal you were able to strike with him. I have one issue in front of me, and that's the pod.
Right.
So what did you think? What did you think it was going to cost you?
$100 a month.
And where did you get that idea from?
From Steve.
And wait a minute. Did Steve tell you that back when, before you decided to keep the pod?
No, he told me that the day that the guy was there to move the pod in position.
Okay, so why don't you immediately put the monthly fee in his name?
It's very complicated. How you just can't say, listen, we want
Gina, why is it complicated? Why can't you just switch it to his name?
I called them and I said to them that Mr. Veneziano would like to just get it put into his name. And they said, well, we have to start up the paperwork. We have to send you the paperwork. Then you have to bring the paperwork, get it notarized, and get it signed. Then you have to bring it to Mr. Veneziano. He has to bring it somewhere, get it notarized, get it signed. Then you have to bring it and send it to us, and then we have to start a claim.
There's a process.
So
it involves getting off of your butts and going to get to a notary. And at the time, it seemed too complicated for you, right?
For me, I thought that it was going to be too much for Joe, so I went and I got it signed, notarized, and I have it here. He never answered the door or was not there.
I'm sorry. I don't understand, because the guy lives there, so you could eventually catch him. If you don't catch him there now, catch him there 5 hours from now.
We did everything that PODS wanted us to do. Mr. Veneziano had to sign and take it.
Right, but you never gave it to him.
Because he honestly, we left messages, he didn't call us back, and we went there, he wasn't there.
I don't understand this. Why would you let it get 3 months old?
We tried, ma'am.
He was
No, you tried. No. You want to know what trying means? You call PODS and tell them to pick it up. That's trying. What is it? Like, you just, life got in the way, other things?
No.
Because 4 months is a lot of, 4 or 3?
Well, 3 months.
3 months. So that's a lot of days for it to go on without you getting paid and without it being switched to his name.
The first month was him telling us to have Steve come over and pick up a check.
And so why wasn't it resolved? Do you understand what I'm saying? Does it seem unreasonable to you for me to say that maybe you guys should get your ducks in a row?
My ducks are in a row, ma'am. I'll be honest with you.
You think your ducks were in a row here?
Absolutely. No question about it.
No question about it. Because here's what I see.
Okay.
I see 2 professionals. I see that you have a contract with him where he's not getting charged for storage. I see that he ends up keeping it, and you end up with a $600-something, $700 bill that you are having to come to court to get because you have no separate contract with him regarding the storage pod, or how much the storage pod would cost, okay? So does it look to you like you handled it the right way, or do you think that maybe the next time or do you think maybe the next time it would be a good idea to have the contract changed immediately into his name, or just say, hey, listen, that pod's getting picked up, take your stuff out of it, take your arrangement.
That's what I had to do to him.
I was trying to be a good person to him.
We have a name for people like you, we call them litigants.
So suppose you had mold in a place you lived, and they had a company come in and they remediated into the whole thing and they're licensed and all, and they said, it's fine now. Would you go back?
No, I wouldn't trust them.
But they say it's okay now.
I still wouldn't trust them. I had one experience.
Even after they supposedly fixed it?
Nope, I wouldn't trust.
Would you go back?
No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't risk my health.
Okay, but certain things can get fixed. I mean, if they say it's fixed, we're really a reputable company, would you go back in?
No, I'd want, like, proof.
You know, I wouldn't either. I gotta say, going inside the courtroom.
All right. When did it occur to you this guy's business is done here? The only reason I'm using this is for my own benefit. I'm going to have to pay for this. Because according to you, they don't tell you anything about that.
So when did you mention the price for the pod?
I get, but you're using it for 3 months.
Because I knew it was $100 a month.
Then they did mention the price. You're saying they mentioned the price was 100.
Then he denied 100. Then they called me and told me I owed them 900. Then it's 8 something.
Okay.
Then it's $230
How
a
much
month.
does the pod actually cost?
$225.97 a month.
Do you have the bill from the pod people?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Did you ever tell him that it was $100 a month?
Ma'am, I never. I honestly, I don't know what the price is. Gina does that, so I would never tell the gentleman that.
Okay. And not even like offhand, like, I don't know, about $100. I have no idea, nothing like that.
I don't do that.
All right. First of all, is there anything in writing anywhere where you tell him it's $225?
No.
All right. And there's nothing in writing where someone tells you it's $100.
Right.
All right. See, that would be good too, right?
Could I just? I, as a business person, tried to compromise with the gentleman, right up until the point I had to file the paperwork and have the dumpster pulled out. I had to get on the phone and tell him, Joe, it's Wednesday. You got to empty that dumpster. He had it locked. We couldn't get in to empty anything out. He had it locked, so I have no access. I had to tell him that. In my conversation with Joe, I said to him, listen, let's resolve the amount that's owed. We came to an agreement of $450. I said, listen, I'm going to eat it as a business person. I'll be down tomorrow to get the check. I went to his house. He says to me, I'm giving you $360. I said, Joe, we went from this amount. I'm working with you.
Did you work this out with him for $450?
He then told me he's going to prorate the last month.
Did you work it out with him?
No, listen, the prices, they're throwing prices around.
Did you ever work out with him on the phone that caused him to drive to your house to pick up the check? Did you work out with him some figure?
No, I don't think it was $458.
What was it?
I was going on to $100 a month. I wanted to
Well, then
get.
what are you giving up? How is that a settlement if you're going on the $100 a month?
Because that's what I was told.
It was
Okay, so then why is he going to your house to pick up a check?
Well, because, listen, first of all, now you don't say, he argued and yelled and cursed at me like he was going out. The guy's a hothead, right? I'm talking, Steve, calm down. You want to talk with, no, he's up. Do what you got to do. Then I'm going to sue you. Sue me.
He's not telling you to.
We're done.
You're
We're done.
on it.
I don't need to hear anymore. We're done.
Okay.
We're done. But here's what I'm left with. I'm left with two people who clearly agreed that the pods would stay there. The pods stayed there for your benefit, okay? She can't prove to me that she ever showed you the amounts. But I certainly have pod discussion when I've got her getting it notarized back in October to try to get it into your name. The bottom line is, I've got to decide what is appropriate because you guys don't have any meeting of the minds. You have no contract on the pod. And you know what is appropriate? What they're actually getting charged on the pod because they're not making money off of it.
Can I
Okay?
say
No,
something?
you cannot.
Wait,
No, you cannot. So on the 225.97 times 3 months, I am ordering the defendant to pay the plaintiffs the sum of $677.91. That is my judgment. We're done.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, guys, hold on.
All right, and so the plaintiff has won this case, and you were still fighting as the judge was leaving the bench. What do you got?
She didn't want to hear.
Well, the case was over.
Well, how could it be over if she didn't hear all my evidence?
She heard enough to rule.
Well, I don't think so.
Well, what did you have that would have been the
I
big
wanted to tell her that they
case?
were there 6 days with the job. If they would have gave me a price at that 6 days, that pod would have been out of there on their first month. I didn't need my garage is bigger than the pod. I put the stuff in my garage after everything was over.
All right, head around the corner this way. Follow Officer McIntosh. Come on in here. What have we learned?
Next time I'm going to have a contract to make sure that anybody that's going to have the pod any longer than the 30 days will have to pay for it on their own. Put it in their own name.
What else have we learned?
Justice is served. We got paid for the pod.
Okay. Harvey?
Okay, Kurt, the judge made it so the plaintiffs didn't lose money on the pod, but they also the judge made it so they didn't make money either. And that will do it for this case. Litigants for the next case on the way into the courtroom right now.
These are the plaintiffs, Dilfuza Nuradinova and Feruza Rustamova. Dilfuza says she agreed to move into an apartment the defendant, a broker, was renting. And the sneaky guy rented her the place before the people living there moved out. Move-in day came and went, and then another move-in day, then another. Soon it became obvious the defendant was having problems getting them out. She decided to look elsewhere, and the scammer defendant refuses to return her very hard-earned $2,500. So she's suing. This is the defendant, Sam. He says the plaintiff agreed to rent an apartment, paid him his fee, and then 3 weeks later tried to back out of the deal. The law's on his side. Because he spent time finding her a suitable place, she can't just change her mind on a whim, and he's gonna get to keep his money. He's accused of being a big delayer.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case on the docket. The plaintiffs say the defendant, a real estate broker, double-crossed them by renting them a place before the prior tenants moved out. But the defendant says the plaintiffs just got cold feet. It's the case of Get Real.
Thank you, Douglas.
You're welcome,
Dilfuza Nuridinova?
Yes, it's my mom.
Okay. You are suing Sam. You've asked to be referred to only as Sam, not use your last name or not use your realty. You're a broker?
Yes.
Okay. For $2,500, the amount that you gave in a security deposit that you feel you are entitled to have returned.
That's
All
right.
You'll be speaking for your mom?
Yeah.
Okay, what happened?
Actually, we found this guy from website Zillow.com. He showed us this condo. We went to pay the Brooklyn. And then when we went to see the condo, he showed us everything.
When did you go see it?
It was November 23rd.
November 23rd.
The first time we went to see the condo. And then he told us to bring the security deposit, $25.
And when were you going to move in?
We said we had to move in from until December 25th.
December?
Yeah.
Okay, so you said to him that you had to move in when?
December 25th.
On Christmas Day?
Yeah.
So you were going to move in on Christmas Day?
Yeah. Actually, we did move in on Christmas Day to another apartment.
Okay. And why did you have to move in? That's such a weird time to...
It's just we had time until that to move out from the old apartment.
Okay, but when was your rent going to begin? January 1st or December 25th?
January 1st, I guess.
Okay, so did you sign a lease when
No,
you
we didn't sign the lease.
Okay, so there's nothing in writing?
No, nothing.
All right, what happens? What goes wrong?
Then there were still people living there, and then we went to talk to them, and this guy...
When did you go talk to him?
November 23rd.
November 23rd. When were those people supposed to move out?
They were waiting for the closing date from the bank, and it was
for their own place, because
yeah.
they were buying a place. Right, but had this side told you those folks will be out by X date?
No,
yes or no?
He didn't tell me that.
So you were just getting nervous because they weren't out. All right, go on.
So we didn't see the landlord, and then he said the landlord will be there in his office on November 25th. We went to his office.
Wait, what did you go on November 25th there for?
To pay the security deposit.
Okay, so when did you say, I want my money back?
I told him after November 28th.
November 28th?
Yeah.
How come you wanted your money back?
Because it was still clear that they were going to move out, and the landlord didn't sign the lease.
But between November 28th and December 25th, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of days for them to move out.
No, because the landlord said he wasn't going to sign the lease until the date was clear that they were going to move out.
Oh, so the landlord of this place wouldn't provide you with a lease?
Yeah.
And you were supposed to get a lease?
Yeah.
And so he didn't want to give you a move-in date because he wasn't sure when the person was going to move out?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. What's going on?
Okay, what happened is that they came to my office requesting an apartment that I had advertised online. We happened to have a tenant still living in the apartment. He was buying a house, and his closing date wasn't settled yet, but he was going to move before the end of the month, guarantee.
Well, if he was, why didn't you just present her with a lease to sign?
The landlord did not want to sign a lease until he gets an actual date from the guy.
That's because he's worried that the guy's not going to leave.
Exactly, because if he signed the lease, he'll be buying to the lease.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
If something happens...
So he doesn't want to be bound, but you won't give her back her money? They've got to be bound, but the landlord doesn't want to be bound.
No. He does not want to be bound to a lease unless he gets an exact date when the guy is moving. But the guy said he's going to move by the end of the month.
Did he?
Under his circumstances, yes.
Did you re-rent the place?
I didn't. He did on his own.
The landlord did.
Yeah.
When did the new tenant?
I have no idea. I didn't have an exclusive on the property.
So you collected $2,500 from them?
We collected $2,500 as a security deposit.
But then you kept it.
Well,
and what'd you keep it for?
What happened is that they had they liked the apartment, they were gonna take the apartment. We did all the work. We met with the landlord.
What are you talking about? Stop. They liked an apartment, and then you did none of the work because other than introduce them to show them the place, the landlord wouldn't provide a lease, which is what they wanted.
You know, one second. There's a lot of work.
No, there's not.
There is.
No, you have one job. Get them a rental. That's your job.
No,
that's what you get to keep your fee for. The fact that you show them and all that doesn't matter. If the landlord will not give you a lease for them to send, then you haven't earned your fee. There has to be something for them to do. They can't do anything. They give you $2,500 as a security deposit that you don't even pay to the landlord. You pocket it. Can I see your contract with them that obligates them to pay you a realtor fee?
Article 12A of the real property law established, number A, if the meeting of the mind had been established, which is the meeting with the landlord and accepting the documents.
Let me explain to you what a meeting of the minds is. It's a contract. Meeting a landlord is not a contract. Meeting of the minds means both sides have a contract. There's no contract here. But I want to see your contract with them that says that they are going to pay you the realtor fee.
I don't have it on me.
So the defendant conveniently forgets the contract he says obligates the plaintiffs to pay. You buying that?
That's really sketchy. Like, that's way too convenient for them to just forget it.
Is it really sketchy? Is it really sketchy?
Of course it is.
Is it super sketchy?
Super sketchy.
Is it super duper sketchy?
Yeah.
Yeah, going inside the courtroom.
Do you have a contract with them?
No.
I have a contract with them. There's no contract, it's application. It's a known fact that when you find them an apartment as
So there's
as a
no
broker,
contract, it's just a known fact.
Yes.
Which is it?
Yes.
Is it that it's a known fact?
It's a
or
known
is it-
fact, Don.
Okay, so you don't have a contract.
I don't have it on me.
No, do you have a contract in your
I have
office?
it in my office, but I don't have it on
So
me.
it's not just a known fact. You actually have something where they
It's
agree.
not a contract, it's an application. It's
Well,
just
then
an
that doesn't
application.
what about the application would entitle you to a $2,500 fee? Is that in the application?
They agree to pay the commission. at that time of
Verbally
the
or in writing?
Verbally.
Oh, so you don't have a contract and a $2,500?
There is no contract.
By
We
the
don't
way,
sign
okay,
contracts.
No, who signs contracts? I just do this all day long.
We don't sign a
Nobody
contract.
says, All right, let me ask you a question. Did you ever agree to pay him a $2,500 fee?
No, we talked with him verbally as saying I was going to pay him $2,000, not $2,500.
Okay. All right. So
He
now
agreed.
here we are, and that's for finding you a place, right?
Yeah.
Not for not finding you a place.
But
because
Yeah,
he
finding
doesn't
a
provide
place,
you a
of
lease.
course.
So you don't know when to move. On what planet do you think that you are going to keep their $2,500?
I wasn't going to keep the $2,500.
But when were you going to pay it back? Because it's February.
No. What happened is that I told him, okay, you can meet me in my office, but I was out of town. So
No, he wasn't.
What happened is that they start sending me like really bad, nasty messages. So I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna be within the limits of the law, and I'm gonna keep the $2,500.
You look like garbage right now. No, seriously, it's not funny. I don't know why you're laughing. You
I'm
look
not laughing.
horrible. You look like a predator. You look like someone who could care less that this family is out $2,500. You pocket it when you haven't earned it. You pocket it when you have no right to it. You pocket it when you can't prove you have a right to it. And your answer is, I was going to make them chase me for it.
I didn't say that.
You didn't have to. It's obvious from everything you did say.
That was not
We
my
have a name
intention.
for
That
that.
was
We
not my
call them
intention.
thieves. Give them back their money, $2,500 plus your court costs.
Thank you.
The defendant. Wow.
Well, some case, huh?
Yeah.
I don't believe that, that they, I was initially going to give them their money anyway, but because of the language they used with me, I decided to do what I did.
Don't you feel a little guilty about keeping their money?
It's not about feeling guilty. It's just about that.
Don't you feel a little ashamed you kept their money and didn't give them an apartment to live in?
No, the apartment was there. They just couldn't wait. They just couldn't wait. That's the only thing. They could have waited a couple of more days.
Don't you feel a little ashamed about the way you handle this?
No, I'm not.
You still think you're entitled to keep that money?
Absolutely.
You really do?
Yes.
You sure? Is that the last thing you want to say before you walk out?
100%.
All right, so
Right. I had all the text messages that he didn't want to pay me back. So
What are you giving him money for without anything in writing and any contract with them?
I trusted him. Like, he said he would
Okay.
show me, talk with the landlord.
So we go to the next question, which is, so what have you learned? What lesson have you learned here?
Not to be trusted.
Not to?
Not to trust people.
Not to trust people?
Yeah.
All right, so where are you living now?
America.
Huh?
Well, actually.
Yeah, got a good place to live?
Yeah.
You found a decent place to live?
Yes, we are.
Okay, Harvey?
I got to tell you something. Realtors have to pass a test, and there are good ones and there are bad ones. They all get licensed by the state. If you're really having a problem with an unethical realtor, what you should do is you should find out the licensing board, contact the licensing board, file a complaint. When a couple of complaints are filed against them, they suddenly find God.